Hey, y'all. It's David here from Nebula Snacks. I'm here today with Brad Reese, and we're going to talk about chocolate, but of course, specifically a hot topic of Reese's peanut butter cups. Hey, Brad, would love to have you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brad Reese. My father, Charles Richard Reese, was the youngest of the 16 children of H.B. Reese, who invented Reese's peanut butter cups and founded the H.B. Reese Candy Company.
Amazing. Well, excited to talk all things chocolate. I think it's safe to say you've had a few peanut butter cups in your lifetime.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Resident expert, quite a story. And recently you've come out with a couple of statements about your feelings on Reese's. I'd love to just open that up. Let's dive right in. What's changed about Reese's that's bothered you most?
It's a total betrayal by the Hershey Company. They're no longer trustworthy. The betrayal was not only just me, it was every consumer that has made Reese's what it is. And the betrayal is swapping out milk chocolate for compound coatings. Instead of the wrapper saying milk chocolate, it'll say chocolate candy. Another code word for fake chocolate is chocolatey, or made with chocolate or chocolate covered. If it does not specifically say milk chocolate, it does not contain cocoa butter. You might remember in the 2000s when white chocolate Reese's came out.
Yep.
And it said on the wrapper, right on the wrapper, white chocolate Reese's. About 2 years go by, white chocolate is no longer on the wrapper. It says white cream Reese's. What's the difference? They swapped out cocoa butter for vegetable oils. And what's happened is the vegetable oils don't work well with the real Reese's peanut butter ingredients. So because vegetable oils don't work well with the actual peanut butter that made Reese's famous, they have to dilute the peanut butter. And they're calling that peanut butter cream. So that's fake peanut butter, fake chocolate. And you have, and Hershey's not only done that with Reese's, their #1 selling candy brand, they did that to the Reese's extensions. For example, the Reese's Fast Break, no longer milk chocolate. The Reese's Sticks, the crispy can't resist, introduced 1998, no longer milk chocolate. Reese's Take 5, which was the subject of the very first Super Bowl ad Hershey ever had in February 2020, no longer milk chocolate, now called chocolate candy. And they've not only did that to the Reese's, they've done it to Cadbury eggs, no longer milk chocolate, it's chocolate candy. They've also done it to the Mr. Good bar, which was always milk chocolate and peanuts. Now it's chocolate candy and peanuts. They've done that to the Crackle bar, which is no longer milk chocolate. And they did that to Almond Joy, no longer milk chocolate. Mounds, no longer milk chocolate. Heath, no longer milk chocolate. Rolo, no longer milk chocolate. Whatchamacallit, no longer milk chocolate. The Reese's Nutrageous, no longer milk chocolate.
Yep. All in favor of likely, extending shelf life and cutting down on their cost of goods. Would love to kind of, get your thought. I mean, taste alone is probably an early indicator of where you started to feel, right? Things are changing. When were you starting to pick up on kind of the changes that Reese's was undergoing, and of course all those additional products that Hershey's owns, and what started to get you out of the woodwork to start talking about it and start talking about it loudly?
Well, I helped stop the sale of Hershey in 2002, and that was a done deal. That was a done deal. It was going to go through, no ifs, ands, or buts. I worked 24/7 with other community leaders in Hershey, and we were successful in stopping that sale. And since we stopped that sale in 2002, the Hershey cash dividend has increased by 800%. That 800% increase was with quality ingredients, okay? Now, you have to keep in mind that in 2005 era, the former chairman and CEO of Hershey, Richard Lenny, was also simultaneously the chairman of the board of the Grocery Manufacturers Association. And under his position as chairman of the board of the Grocery Manufacturers Association, he was lobbying the FDA to change the standard of identity of chocolate. And there is an excellent chocolatier. His name is Gary Guittard of Guittard Chocolate Company in San Francisco, California. And he led the opposition to Richard Lenny changing the standard of identity of chocolate with the FDA. And I assisted Gary, but he was really the person that made it all happen. He stopped Richard Lenny. And so the standard of identity of chocolate was under attack by Hershey Company and Richard Lenny, the former chairman and CEO, back in 2005. So it's been a continuous battle. It's sort of like a whack-a-mole. Then you snuff it out. But this latest in February, because you have to understand, BradReese.com was growing Reese's worldwide, one peanut butter cup at a time. And same thing with my LinkedIn profile. Brad Reese growing Reese's peanut butter cups, one peanut butter cup at a time. I was having a lot of success in Germany, Poland, France, the UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, where even Reese's was slaying in Kathmandu, Nepal. And I met with the distributor, the Reese's distributor in Kathmandu, Nepal. I met him at the W Hotel in South Beach, Miami, in January. So I was promoting Reese's then and having the time of my life. And so when the Reese's peanut butter cups minis, Reese's peanut butter minis hearts unwrapped came out, I was excited to try them. So of course I rushed to the grocery store and found a bag, bought it. It was a 7.6 ounce bag. I took 2 bites and I had to spit it out. It was so nasty. Oh my God. And of course I dumped all the contents out and I saved the pouch and I started inspecting the pouch. And sure enough, milk chocolate was nowhere to be found on the front of the pouch. It said chocolate candy. And then the ingredients, it said, well, also on the front, it said chocolate candy and peanut butter cream. And then I looked at the ingredient panel on the back, and that's where you see it's all vegetable oils. And its first ingredient is sugar. So that's another key that candy consumers need to be looking at the ingredient panel. And if the first ingredient is sugar, that means the product is mostly containing sugar. And it's obviously low quality sugar. There's nothing high quality that Hershey's putting into even the current Reese's peanut butter cups. Let me tell you the situation. The peanut butter cups, the original Reese's peanut butter cups that are sold in England and Europe are manufactured in Mexico. And in England and Europe, on the front of the wrapper is you don't see milk chocolate because Hershey does not meet Reese's peanut butter cups over there do not meet the standard of identity for milk chocolate. So if you look at the ingredient panel, it will say milk chocolate flavored and then peanut butter cream center. So Hershey's saying that we haven't changed the formula. They're doing the bare minimum. They're doing such a small bare minimum and they're doing it gradually. But over time, it's huge. But it's so minimum that they can't even meet the standards in Europe and UK. So how are they? By the way, Reese's is doing very well over there. It's a 300 million plus business. But I don't think people realize that Hershey, the Reese's peanut butter cup, we can use the most popular chocolate brand in any country or region of the world that we enter. We don't have to use Hershey's chocolate. We could have Godiva, even in the United States, we could have Godiva covered milk chocolate. We could have Ghirardelli covered Reese's peanut butter cups. We could have Dove chocolate covered, and Dove's made by Mars. I presented that to the president of Mars, Anton Vincent, and he laughed. And I said, also, we could stuff Reese's with M&Ms, a collaboration. Again, he's laughing. And I said, I'm serious. There's so much opportunity out there to grow the sales profitably that what the Hershey company is doing, they're stooping for pennies and passing up the dollars. You have to also understand that the Reese's plants, they're made from milk chocolate and real peanut butter. So with these compounds, they're gumming up the machinery. It's causing production lines to crash. And when you got a production line down, it's costing you millions of dollars. So what they're saving in ingredients, they've got production instability.
Yeah, but
So
the spreadsheets say one thing when it comes to the implementation of how to save that money for the organization. So they see the money in the spreadsheets on COGS on those cost of goods, and they're willing to compromise on potential impacts to the production line.
yes, and also you need to take into effect that when they're cheapening the ingredients, okay, that's a lever, but it's eroding the equity of the Reese's brand. And so I'm finding out that my sister, for example, my older sister has not had a Reese's peanut butter cup in 5 years, and her reason for that was they no longer tasted good to her, and that's
Yep.
been going on for more than 5 years now. And so what's happening is people are thinking their taste buds have changed. They've gotten older, their taste buds have changed, or they got a bad batch. Well, they haven't gotten a bad batch, and their taste buds aren't changing. The ingredients are becoming low quality. So that's what's been going on. And the fact that the Hershey company is getting headlines now saying Hershey to bring back real chocolate. I mean, how absurd is that?
Yep. Yep. It is quite a doozy of a headline to see, because all this time everybody believes that they've been eating chocolate. But before we get into that, because I do want to talk about that, I want to talk about like the ingredients. So you said through this process you were trying the chocolate, you inspected the label. Majority of the country unfortunately doesn't read the ingredient label. It doesn't read the nutrition facts. That's something that is a rising trend. More and more consumers are becoming aware of ingredients. One of the things I want to ask you about is, right, the ingredients have been changing, but kind of what frustrates you more, the ingredient changes themselves or the lack of transparency around it, from the organization pushing out these products, same brand, but completely shifted ingredient panel over the course of many years?
Yeah, so it's been very quiet, and just the PR saying that Brad Reese has been victorious. We're bringing back. I mean, Napoleon said it best: "Victory is the most dangerous moment." Okay, so they're quote unquote giving me a win. Okay, but they
Yep.
don't plan. They don't plan to do anything. They don't plan to change anything, and they're putting it out till 2020. They could change in 3 days. Okay,
Yep.
I mean, this is ridiculous. Okay, so they're protecting those profit margins when you have a company, over 100-year-old company, saying that they're going to increase the earnings per share by 30%. This is a mature company, mature industry category. The only way they can go by 30% is to lower the quality of the ingredients. That's the only way. And that's what they're doing. So it's a total betrayal of every customer that has made Reese's what it is today. And frankly, David, I don't think they're going to get that trust back. I think it's gone.
Yeah, it's a fair point. It is becoming so much of a wider trend. The creators, the food lobbies. You've got Make America Healthy Again as a gigantic movement across the states, and everybody screaming, "Look at the ingredients!" And what has led to some of these announcements. And I agree. I don't think the one announcement of we're bringing real chocolate back is enough, because not just you, but there have been many in the industry who have immediately peeked behind the curtain of what that statement actually means. But let's get to that statement, because you brought it up at the beginning of April this year.
Where is
Hershey's
that
announced
statement? Did you see it on their website? On any Hershey website?
the bringing chocolate back.
Yes.
No, that was the news outlets. That was not
No,
a
it's
Hershey's.
not
Yeah.
anywhere to be found. There's no press release. There's no blog. There's nothing on Hershey's websites or
Yep.
press releases with that information. Okay.
As 100% guarantee. You're absolutely right. And that's what's so funny. You said you brought it up earlier, is the news outlets reporting that this was a Brad Reese victory. I think NBC in their headline said Brad Reese won. I'd love to talk about it. Like, we got into it a little bit. Do you see that as progress, or you kind of just see it as a stunt, as a PR event?
It's a PR stunt, and it's a brilliant stunt.
Yep.
It's like it'd be like the war going on with Iran. It'd be like Iran saying to America, "You won." Okay.
Yep.
It's they have no intention of letting you win. Okay. But the thing, like I was interviewed by Glenn Beck. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
I know Glenn Beck.
But he said that Reese's is American culture. It's American heritage. And when Reese's is no longer Reese's, what else in our American society is no longer what it is? So what has happened is Reese's it's lightning in a bottle. It's always has been. The brand is lightning in a bottle. It's so beloved. And so it's the straw that broke the camel's back. So it's now progressed from Reese's and the Hershey company to all the food companies and who are ultra processing our food. So they're taking these great brands and the trust that consumers have in these great brands, and they're making them less and less quality. And what's funny is Hershey is pushing to investors that they're pursuing better for you. Everything we do is better for you. Well, the number one brand that they have, which creates all the profits, all the sales, they're making it worse for you.
Yep.
You just see that it's not aligned. And that's why I say the story does not match the ingredients. And so it's a movement that, well, look at SNAP, the food stamps.
Yep.
7 states have banned candy sales. And that was when it was real milk chocolate. I mean, now that they're using vegetable oils that are really basically not good for you, okay? It deserves to be banned, okay? And tax dollars being spent on vegetable oils. So it's a movement now where every food company that ultra processes its ingredients is now facing consumer backlash.
Yep. So, I mean, cut and dry, the answer was it's not enough. But I'd be curious, in your purview, what needs to change, right? If Hershey's, came out tomorrow and asked you, what do we need to do to restore trust? What does that look like? What can they do?
Well, first, I don't trust them. I don't trust them with anything. Even if they quote unquote next week came out with milk chocolate covered products, for how long? I mean, they're so untrustworthy and they did this so quietly. And they're saying they did it by consumer demand for innovation. So where did they say, hey, look, consumers, we're meeting your demands and your requirements. We're taking out milk chocolate and we're putting in vegetable oils, taking out cocoa butter. Where did they say that? Where did they say we're making this better? We're meeting innovations. By the way, the milk chocolate was taken from king size bars that you see in convenience stores and the checkout aisles of grocery stores. These are king size. They even did it to the small shapes, the unwrapped shapes. So there's nothing that they can say at this point. For me, they're untrustworthy. I think every head needs to roll. I mean, total termination, every up and down. And they need to pinpoint exactly who made the decisions and when to take out milk chocolate, and do it quietly.
Yeah. The trust has been lost.
Yes.
Just officially. And we haven't even talked about the additional preservatives that are included in Reese's, like TBHQ or PGPR, in order to extend the shelf life. You mentioned the vegetable oils. That's a very cut and dry one. Cocoa butter keeps it also looking very shiny for longer periods of time. One of the most common things when it comes to real chocolate is chocolate bloom, which many chocolatiers are super familiar with. That's when the cocoa butter will rise slowly to the top. But of course, that doesn't happen with chocolate candy that doesn't include cocoa butter.
Yes. So, yeah. But you know as well as all the other chocolatiers what goes into the product, and if you're making your product will sit on the shelves for a year, there's something wrong with that. Okay, I'm sorry. It's Reese's was always quality and was always on the boxes of the Reese Candy Company, because we were celebrating our 40th anniversary in 1963 when we did our merger with Hershey. Always on our HB Reese Candy Company box was, if this product is not perfect, return the label with the batch number and so forth to us, and we would replace it. So that's always been a policy. quality. And Mr. Hershey even said it. Quality is your best advertisement.
Yeah, so it's incredibly true, right? Taste speaks volumes, and over time, the brand may lose that recognition, that trust, because that taste has changed. And with many saying, that taste bud has evolved over the course of their life, more and more people are just waking up to the fact that it's not them; it is in fact the product itself.
Right. So it's been gradual, but over the years, those little yearly gradual cheapening it
Yep,
is
the ingredient changes.
becomes a big difference over the years. It becomes a big difference. I remember when, well, we used to eat the rejects. They didn't get covered right or whatever in the cup, and they were. It didn't matter. They were so good, always good.
Yeah, they
And
didn't come out looking perfectly from the mold, but they were just tasty. I do that all the
yeah,
time.
the neighborhood kids, they would. It was perfect. It was really a great, unique taste. And as you know, as I do, David, it's hard to replicate a Reese's peanut butter cup. It really is.
It's
Uh,
not easy, that's
yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a special flavor. When I was a kid, it was my go-to. It's just sweet, and who doesn't love chocolate and peanut butter?
yes. And the Reese family members have consumed more than you can possibly imagine. We used to have cases around and so forth. They were just always there. And so it really is a personal betrayal to me what Hershey has done,
Yeah,
especially when I helped stop the sale in 2002 to keep them an independent company and to have them betray my trust, but more importantly, all consumers' trust. That is unforgivable.
yeah. And I think you touch upon like a really important note on the better for you category, right? Like incumbents like myself trying to bring right healthier options to the market, right? Zero sugar chocolate or less sugar chocolate. There's a lot of different brands doing it today, but everybody keeps an eye out for the acquisitions that are occurring, right? So you mentioned right when the acquisitions occurred, people now start to pay attention to the labels, right? Some of the big blockbuster deals over the course of the last year or so, Siete Family Foods was acquired by Pepsi, and people are already noticing some changes to the cassava flour blend or the oils that are used to fry their chips, or so on and so forth. So would love to kind of hear your thoughts on kind of the overarching better for you category and what those acquisitions actually mean from somebody who's just watched an acquisition over the course of many, many years.
Well, again, you will find that the executives and the marketers at Hershey think that they're the reason why Reese's is relevant. Well, the only
Yep.
reason why anybody pays them any attention is their business card. They would be a nobody if it wasn't for Reese's. Okay. So that's, first of all, the arrogance. The arrogance, they're hard to do business with. There's so many Reese's. And let me tell you something, David. The Hershey Company could care less that I'm the grandson of H.B. Reese. And that's meaningless to them. Okay, I know that. I mean, they've let me know. But what's interesting is being the grandson of H.B. Reese, the inventor of Reese's, means a lot to the media. And it even means more to consumers of Reese's. And I know that because I wear Reese's swag. And when I wear Reese's swag, I get mobbed. Not because I'm Brad Reese. They have no idea who I am. They're just, oh, that's my favorite. I love Reese's, from the 4-year-old to the 104-year-old. And when I walk in Manhattan, the sidewalks part, and people are smiling and nodding their head, not at Brad Reese, but at the Reese's brand. And
Yep.
so it's so beloved. It's, like I said, it's lightning in a bottle. And it really is unfortunate what's happened, because they've blown it. They have the only person that could kill Reese's was the company itself. And they've done that. They've succeeded in doing that. And saying that they're going to make corrective and that they made the decision back last summer to correct, and that it had nothing to do with so it has nothing really to do with it's what the consumer backlash, okay? But them to even frame it that it was made It's not. It's not in reaction to the consumer backlash. It's total bunk. It's total bunk. Now the U.S. president, on April 14th, 14 days after he gave the presentation at the New York Stock Exchange about Reese's was going to really kick butt in the United States. Okay, he's gone. He's out the door. I'm like, it was they're searching for his replacement. So there's no statement of why he left, who is replaced. So it's everything they say is total bunk. It's just it's like you can't. It gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, I want to withdraw. I just want to live a comfortable life that I had in paradise. I can engage with Reese's on LinkedIn, but now NBC, ABC, everybody wants to do, and I'm just like, I'm not. But another important thing is they've lost $10 billion in market cap.
So that was actually where my mind was going.
Yeah.
The market has spoken in response to a number of things, right? You've got the Maha movement. You've got more people reading labels. You've got taste being a huge factor. You've got the ingredient changes. Then there's other, contributing factors like individuals who are now on GLP-1s, right?
Yes.
Where the appetite is not there for, as much candy. So they've got to maximize, and that's where protein comes in and fiber comes in. Would love to, get your thoughts on kind of the overarching, landscape for the shift towards better for you, looking at, maybe GLP-1s, the rise in individuals with diabetes across the state and pre-diabetics. I think that's estimated to be around 140 million diabetic or pre-diabetic individuals in the States. Yeah, would love to get your thoughts.
Well, that's obviously a huge market. And so they need to be totally focused on the markets that they're not serving and making bigger king size, bigger. They went from 4 Reese's peanut butter cups to 6 king size. Okay. So they're overloading and people are getting obese. And it's like anything else in life, David, moderation. It's fun to have a glass of wine, but it's not too fun when you have 10 and you're drop down drunk. So everything in moderation is same thing with sweets. What I like about your product is you've got the small serving size.
Yep.
And so you're not trying to overload people.
Exactly. I completely agree. And one thing, right, I have a 0 sugar chocolate brand. I still eat sugar. That's one of the common misconceptions. A lot of customers are like, do you like completely 0 sugar? I'm like, no, I still do enjoy sugar. It's delicious, but I approach it in moderation. And the reason why I created my product is because I just freaking love chocolate and I wanted to be able to have it more frequently. So like you said, right, it is a small little bite-sized chocolate. I'm able to have it whenever, multiple times a week, multiple times a day if I'm so craving, and it doesn't have any sugar in there. But if I wanted to,
you can carry it. You can carry it in your pocket, your shirt pocket. Yeah.
Great for on the go. It's great for on the couch, whichever you prefer.
Yeah.
And when I wanted to grab a Reese's, I'm like you. I don't really reach for a Reese's anymore because it's not worth the taste for me. But would I reach for an old school Reese's to get that taste? Absolutely, it's delicious. Yeah. And go for it.
The absurdity of you go to a grocery store shelf and you have a Reese's product and it's the same spot it's always been in. Okay. They're cheapening the ingredients and they're raising the price at the same time. It's absurd. And they're shrinking the size of the serving. So it's the public needs to spank Hershey mercilessly because they deserve it. They deserve it. They betrayed every single consumer in the United States. And that is unforgivable. And make it even worse is to say in 2027, without any real benchmarks, we're going to bring back real chocolate, but it's not till 2027. It's David, are you going to call up Hershey on December 31st, 2027, say, hey, look, I just bought this product today at the grocery store and it still has vegetable oils. I thought you said you were by 2027. I mean, who's going to do that to them?
Yeah.
It's a brilliant PR stunt, but they've actually shot themselves. They've committed Harry Carey, what do you want to call it?
Because
Kamikaze.
if they don't actually deliver, then I think the public may actually be in a good space to give them that spanking that you're talking about. I think that's great. Yeah.
And competitors like you, this is a gift. This is a gift that Hershey is giving you, David. It's like it's wrapped on a silver tray. It's you couldn't ask for a better opportunity. So that's what I'm excited about, is because I think what happens is when the companies become too big, and I hope that because the stock is going down, it could be the trust is going to sell, and maybe a Procter and Gamble or Unilever will buy them, but that's not going to change. It just becomes another super
the new person.
processed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so I'm really glad that you have the passion for your products, because the executives of Hershey certainly don't.
Well, I appreciate that, Brad. And on the note of Nebula, I sent you some product.
Yes.
I would love to, we can dive into it. But first and foremost, like, my product is a zero sugar product. So, going into the grandson of Reese's peanut butter cups, you have to think, okay, well, is this going to cut through? Were you a little skeptical going into trying Nebula?
No, because I'm always interested in new products. And it's interesting. Have you gotten into Whole Foods yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Still in the early stages, but growing, and there's more and more interest every day.
So, so Unreal Snacks has come in with a not as unhealthy as Reese's is.
33% less sugar. Yeah.
But it's also the serving size is 14% less. So anyway, so that's nice marketing on their part. Lily's, which was bought by Hershey, and that's in Whole Foods. And I said to the candy guy in Whole Foods, any Hershey product, any Reese's product? Oh no, we would never carry Hershey's or Reese's products. I said, well, you got Lily's. You got Brookside. What do you mean? And of course, they don't say Hershey anywhere on the packaging, right? But I see that you've picked out Lily's, and now also I see that you're using allulose. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, yeah. One of my sweeteners is allulose as well as monk fruit, and that's what allows for the zero sugar portion of the product.
I thought Lily's is using stevia, or
so yeah, Lily's is using stevia and erythritol. So they use sugar alcohols, and I opted for allulose, which is not a sugar alcohol.
And monk fruit.
Yeah. Yep. The reason why I chose both of those is that they're actually shown to be non-glycemic completely. Every individual with diabetes is different, so blood sugar reacts. But vast majority of my customers have told me that they don't report any blood sugar spike after eating Nebula, which is just a wonderful thing to be able to do, is eat a sweet piece of chocolate without worrying about, right, that inflammation, that blood sugar spike. Whereas Lily's, and I don't have their sales data, but what's been rumored in the industry is that since the acquisition, Hershey's, and increase of distribution, that their sales have actually slowly declined. A part of that would probably be erythritol, right? The other sweetener that they use, being a sugar alcohol. A couple of studies came out back in the last couple of years, I think it was 2022, that connected erythritol to potentially heart disease. And a lot of consumers have wisened up on sugar alcohols and taken a step back. And then you look at, right, the Hershey zero sugar product, the Reese's zero sugar product, they use maltitol, which is another sugar alcohol.
Yeah, the label says causes bloating and gas.
Yep.
Which ingredient is doing that on Reese's products?
That would be the maltitol.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would be the sugar alcohol, and because they use so much in the desire to match the sweetness levels of a full sugar Reese's peanut butter cup, that amount of maltitol will cause bloating, will cause gas, and potentially an uneasy stomach as a result. And what is also shown, and why Nebula is very different, is that maltitol, being a zero sugar, it does still spike blood sugar. And that's another downside for a lot of people seeking, right, a non-glycemic sweet.
Well, I also noticed that you're making your products in smaller quantities. I mean, smaller.
Yes, sir. Yeah, small batch.
King
Where
size. But I guess what I would be is for example, I would be at the blood draw at the VA hospital where they do the blood draws and be there in the waiting room and saying, you want to get your A1C level down? Here's a good
that's a
product
good
you can enjoy. I would go to medical conventions. I mean, I wouldn't even go to food or snack things. I would go.
start off on a whole completely different level.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
yeah, it's just, but really, the opportunity is so great now. And I'm excited for all the entrepreneurs such as yourself, David, who are going to take this opportunity to present to consumers alternatives, because consumers have to pay very strict attention to all the labels, the front, and especially the ingredient panel on the back. They need to understand, because there's no, once these companies do this, like Hershey, they don't go back.
Yep. Well, the margins are too great. And I think that's a really important point. And I'm sure you've seen some of the potential proposed legislature on putting certain ingredients or nutrition facts on the front of the package being a requirement. There are some things being put in place that could potentially increase the knowledge, the consumer knowledge of what is actually in their snacks, in the products that they're purchasing from groceries. So we'd love your thoughts on that. But I think we're maybe a ways away.
Well, look at cigarettes. They actually say this will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay. And people consume them. Same
Still
thing
very
like
much so.
vaping and all the, the knowledge that people have that this is what it's going to be bad for you. So people are still purchasing those products, and people are still going to purchase Reese's made by Hershey that are inferior products. They're still going to sell.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it really is important though, that people realize it's not their taste buds. It's not a bad batch. It is the ingredients, and you need to carefully look at the ingredients, because what I'm finding out in the stores, in the same Publix is a big grocery store chain down here
in Florida.
Yeah. So in the same Publix store, the very same store, they'll have identical products that will say milk chocolate, same packaging, same weight, and another one that says chocolate candy. So people are getting confused because it's mixed in.
Yeah, based on which batch.
One day it's milk chocolate and one day it's not.
Which batch they made and which case ended up on the truck to that grocery store. Yep.
Yeah. You cannot assume anymore when it says Reese's that it's the classic peanut butter and milk chocolate taste.
And so I could probably talk to you for hours about this, Brad. I don't want to be sensitive to your time, but one of the things that I've always thought about is just the consumer education around nutrition. And in today's, public education, even private education, not enough focus is on nutrition, right? You look at other countries like Japan, they're teaching home ec in early education, whereas we're not taught to read ingredient labels or make our own food. And that's become that kind of this ultra reliance on ultra processed food, but that takes a lot of work, as opposed to just relying on our companies, relying on the FDA to provide just better alternatives for us, better foods.
Yeah, it's obviously Hershey will continue to make sales, but the consumer, I think, is wiser, and that was the whole purpose of everything that I've done, is to document so that people can make an informed decision and not trust the logo. That's what was so shocking for me, was the Reese's logo.
Yep.
And I had to spit it out. It's got the Reese's logo on it. I mean, that's incomprehensible. I worked in the Pentagon for 2.5 years when I was in the Army. And if you had told me when I got honorably discharged in 1976, I was there the day Saigon fell on April 29th, 1975. Wow. But if you had told me that I could have died in the Pentagon, I would have been like, that's incomprehensible. And I worked in both World Trade Centers, so I knew both towers. The fact that all three buildings I knew intimately, but it was incomprehensible, especially the Pentagon, being that you could die, and how many hundreds died there. I'm telling you, this is how absurd that Hershey's, the headline
That
said, Hershey's
yeah,
bringing back chocolate. I'm like, this is
yeah,
absurd. And peanut
yeah.
butter, real peanut butter and Reese's.
Real peanut butter. It's a shame. Well, I got two more questions for you. One's a little biased. I have to ask. When you first tried, right? Nebula does have a peanut butter flavor.
Yeah.
Uh, what was your reaction? Let me know. What was your thoughts on this zero sugar peanut butter bite?
I thought it was good, but it didn't have the Reese's, that unique Reese's taste. And
Yep.
you can't expect that because, I mean, it's, I'm sure every chocolatier is aware of that. Okay. So, I can't compare it to a Reese's because we all know what Reese's tastes like, but
Of course.
it was very, very good. It's a worthy product. You just, you need to keep doing what you're doing and making adjustments as the customers give you your feedback. I like the portion size. I like the colorful packaging.
Thank you.
And also the fact that inside that pouch, they're individually wrapped.
Yep.
So that's sort of similar to the Reese's Thins, which come in a pouch and each one is individually wrapped. But I think just as well as a Reese's customer, moderation is everything. Not to eat too much of any product, regardless of whether it has no sugar or yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't recommend customers to eat an entire bag of the chocolate. It's meant for portion size, portion control. I get so many customers asking me questions at tables when they try the samples. They're like, I'm gonna finish this whole bag
Yes.
in a sitting. I'm like, well, I don't think you should do that. I think
Yes.
you should enjoy the chocolate over periods of time. You should relish it. You don't, right? Don't just inhale, because that's not a great way to appreciate the chocolate. But I recommend always the pantry, right? The small plate psychology is, go to the pantry, you take one or two out, you bring them to the couch, you sit down, you enjoy them. Never take the bag out of the pantry, because then you're going to sit on the couch with it and finish the bag.
Well,
So
is
yeah,
the peanut butter your best seller or is it the caramel?
so the caramel is actually the best seller. Just people love caramel. It's hard to beat, and this is actually a first of its kind. It's a zero sugar and dairy free caramel, which, if you're in confections, caramel is generally sugar and cream. And I did it without either of those and without using any artificial gums or ingredients.
So you're basically like a Star Trek themed candy company.
Pretty much, yeah. That's the
Nebula
goal.
is a universe or a galaxy or
So a nebula is actually the result of a supernova star. It's
okay.
a very colorful gaseous cloud in space. And the reason why I named it Nebula Snacks is because it really represents, right, that supernova flavor, right, when that star explodes, but without the weight, without the poor ingredients in there that cause negative reactions going down. Right. So it's kind of that fun,
That's why
flavorful.
that's why
Yeah.
it's cosmic caramel. Cosmic.
Exactly. That's the cosmic caramel. And you were talking about almond joys earlier. I came out
Yes.
with my coconut blast, which is a very similar to, more so, a Mounds. There's no almonds in there, but really trying to find better alternatives in terms of, right, that everyday snack that you can reach for when you don't want to have, right, the sugary overload, the blood sugar spike. And these also come with some good fiber in there as well.
I will give you some advice. Just my
Please.
grandfather, when he started for at least 2 decades, he made different kinds, peanut clusters, coconut, pecans. I mean, it was almost like a Whitman sampler or Russell
Yep.
Stover gift box. And the peanut butter cup was just one of many different candies. It wasn't until he concentrated just on the peanut butter cup. And that's what was amazing when we merged with Hershey. We were a major candy company with one product. And you've been in business, what, 3 years now or 4 years?
Roughly. Yeah, just about 3-4 years almost.
Yeah, and you have multiple products, okay? What I'm getting at is when we merged with Hershey in 1963, there was only one company that bought more chocolate from Hershey than Reese, and that was Mars. So it's when my grandfather focused on that one product, that's when sales doubled every 4 years. And so you
Focus
have
on
to
the one.
find that product. You have to find that product, because when you're a small company, the resources that you need
Oh yeah,
to have,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And yes, it's absolutely it's a great point. And that's why caramel, it's starting to lead the pack, and I've been paying a lot more attention to it. One of the things I'm working on is doubling down on the caramel. It's going to come out in a squeeze bottle, just the caramel alone, later this year. And it's leaning heavily in there because people have wanted it in the chocolate. They've wanted it alone, but I'm not launching any new flavors, at least for the time being. I appreciate the feedback.
yeah. And the sheriff would knock on the front door, and my grandfather would run out the back door, because he owed money to everybody. Everybody got paid eventually, but his checks would bounce and so forth and so on. So it's an epic struggle. It's an epic struggle, and you need to, I guess what I'm getting at, David, is you need to enjoy the journey, because sometimes when you get to the destination, it's kind of like, is that all there is? It's
Yeah.
really a journey. Okay. So just,
Oh,
yeah.
it's a great no, I'm loving it. I'm loving it every step of the way. I get customer emails, and being behind that table handing out some samples, it means the world when people try the chocolate, and they're always shocked, right? This has no sugar. I'm like, yes, it does, and you can enjoy it whenever you like.
And
But yeah, one.
your website is superior to the Hershey's website, just letting you know.
Well,
I mean,
thank
it's
you.
much more, it's just got more pizzazz.
Thanks. I do appreciate it. It's fun branding. It's colorful. I didn't want to be, a one color only kind of guy. But I can't take all the credit. I will say that Shopify is a big portion of putting that website together. Let's plug Shopify. But I got one final question for
Sure.
you, and then we can close. It's actually about your grandfather. If he were still here today, looking at the market, what's the things that, or what's the one thing that he would refuse to compromise on?
Well, you need to understand that before my father died, he was very ill. He called me up in the middle of the night, and I was 50 years old at the time. I'm 70 now, so this is 20 years ago. And he said he didn't want to die, and he was crying. I said, well, of course you don't want to die. He said, but you understand, I don't want to go to heaven. I said, Dad, it doesn't make sense. What do you mean you don't want to get heaven? Oh, I don't want to have to face my father. I said, Dad, what do you mean? Well, we don't face Grandpa. I double crossed him. I said, you double crossed him? I'm 50 now when I'm hearing that. I said, what do you mean you double crossed him? He made me promise that if he gave me half his shares, I'd never sell the company. And my dad merged with Hershey 7 years after my grandfather died. And when we merged with Hershey, my dad was 35. He played golf every day before the merger, and he played golf every day after the merger. The only difference was after the merger, no one cared where he was.
Yep.
So what I'm getting at is that my Hershey ended up with Reese because of perfect storm. And so they should have never had the Reese's. Okay. My grandfather knew what he had. He knew he could have sold it at any time. He knew it was worth a lot of money. And the point I'm trying to make is that don't give out. Don't exit. Don't be looking for an exit, because I'm telling you, when you do that, it's bad karma. You got to keep the good karma. I think it was the end of the Reese family, because everybody got their pile of Hershey stock and everybody went their separate ways. When they were one family and all had Reese's stock, they were a powerful economic engine. Powerful, very powerful. And Hershey knew that. And so the key there is your family. If you get liquid, if you're having problems with your wife, she might not work them out. She'll just go for the money and sue for divorce. There's so many things that can happen. And also, you might have to skip a generation or two to be involved in the business. You don't put somebody in the business because he's family. If they don't work, they don't show up, they don't outdo, the other employees. You can always have professional management, is what I'm getting at. You don't have to have a family member running things. So just keep that in mind, and just don't think, because people think, oh, a lot of money today is whatever. What's the figure? 100 million? I don't know. $100 million, I can just live life, kick back, do everything I want to do. And what they don't realize is 10 years down the road, 100 million is not
Nope.
going to be. I always tell people, a billion ain't what it used to be, you know. And people think, oh, I'm going to sell at this. And what's interesting is these acquisitions that you're saying that Hershey's making in the better
Yep.
for you categories. Have you
Absolutely.
noticed that all the sellers are taking cash, not Hershey stock? The
Yep.
Reese family
I
took Hershey stock. What does that tell you about the sellers' confidence in Hershey taking
Yep.
their company and making it good?
No, they're just looking for the
Cash.
for the exit.
Yeah. So did I answer your question? I'm sorry. I
No,
got off.
you did. You did. You did. I mean, I think there's a lot in there on not compromising. I think the compromise being right having to sell or aiming for the sell, where a lot of individuals in this industry, even building better for you, majority of them are building for that exit.
And
Um,
live modestly.
yeah.
Live modestly. I cannot stress that enough. Okay. The big house, the servants, the fancy cars, the fancy vacations, it makes people soft. Okay. You can't allow yourself to get soft. You can't allow your family members to become soft. You have to always live modestly. And it really, the things that people, the priorities that people have today, I think are unhealthy, you know, mentally for people. And it's not diamonds. It's not, you know,
Yeah.
private
Right.
jets. I mean, all the things that people think are like, oh gosh,
I
it's not,
need that. Yeah.
meaningless. It's meaningless. It really, that's why I'm saying the journey is where it's at. And by the way, when you're successful, everybody's going to be trying to pick your pocket. Oh, I've got so and so who's blind, so and so who's got cancer. Everybody
Yep.
wants to pick your pocket. And so it's kind of like, did I really want to get to this position in life where everybody looks at me as an ATM? And you know, it just, all I'm just saying is that my grandfather always lived modestly, because you understand his grew, sales doubled every 4 years. So constantly reinvesting back into the business. And people don't understand that, you know, today you got private equity, you got hedge funds and
Yep.
so forth. Don't take their money. Don't take it. Just,
Well, that's why actually most end up, rushing for the exit is because in the consumer packaged goods world, it's stated and heavily reinforced that you need, right, the funding, you need to take on the VC, you need to grow by all means necessary in order to exit. And once you take that money, it's a race.
so
Now,
David, yeah,
I'll say I have not raised any money. Nebula is 100% bootstrapped. So as of today, it is privately and 100% owned by me.
so what's interesting when I watch Hershey buy these private equity backed consumer packaged goods companies, and you know what I'm talking about. I mean, they
Yeah.
come out and they buy shelf space and they push the sales up and so forth. And then Hershey comes in and pays an outrageously absurd amount of money. And what I call it is watching Hershey buy consumer packaged good companies that are owned by private equity. It's like watching baby seals being clubbed. I mean, Hershey is the baby seal, and
Yep.
the private equity companies are the ones clubbing the baby seal Hershey. It's like, how can you be so stupid? But what's going on is the executives at Hershey are thinking ahead. I want to be a partner at that private equity firm.
Yep.
You see what I'm getting
And
at, or
down the line.
consulting relationship and so forth. And that's what happened with Hershey. And so a lot of those executives are now at private equity companies. And so you need to be conscious that their outlook on life and so forth, and constantly buying and selling brands. I mean, it's like, it's meaningless. It's like, what do you
Yep.
stand for?
And then that all trickles down into the ingredients of the product that they're selling.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Well, Brad, thank you so much. I really appreciate the time. It's been an absolute pleasure just getting your thoughts on the world of chocolate today.
Well, I appreciate you, communicating with me and also sending your products to me. I appreciate that. And I just want to let you know that this is such a great opportunity for you. What Hershey's doing, it's like just watch them as they start shooting. They shoot themselves in the left foot. They shoot themselves in the right foot. They're constantly. It's like you're watching a Keystone Cops movie.
Yeah.
Or something. It's like, how can people be so vapor? No, what do you call it?
Unaware.
But there's nothing there. There's no
Fog-headed. Now
the
I'm
money.
all over the place.
Well, they want to take out $20-30 million in stock options this year. Okay. It's like, so what? I mean, a house in Palm Beach that used to cost $1 million now is $25 million. And you got to pay $2 million a year in property taxes.
Yep.
So what I'm getting at is all these things that they're chasing is meaningless because it's like you're in your private prison. You got your $10 million painting on the wall that you don't want anybody to steal. Okay, so you can't leave.
So you stay home at all times. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, and there's no sidewalks, by the way, because they don't want people walking on the sidewalk. So if you want to take a walk, you can't do it in your neighborhood. It's like funny. It's disappointing, and I just want to let you know that what you're doing is the fun part, and that's the key. So,
well, I appreciate it, Brad, and it's absolutely true. I love every moment of it.
Okay, all right, David. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay.
Chat soon. Bye.
Okay.